Hello, everybody. This is so insane, guys. President Trump has just exposed everybody. The FBI has finally revealed one of the biggest things, one of the biggest wins ever for justice. And I'm telling you guys, it's bad. We have just found out that the January 6th pipe bomber that put pipe bombs outside the DNC and the RNC turned out to be a Capitol Police officer. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. This is insane. The technology that they use to find out that the person who was a January 6th pipe bomber that they tried to say was MAGA, that they tried to say was a Trump patriot, was actually a police officer for the Capitol. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because it gets even crazier. Not only have 30 subpoenas gone out from a federal grand jury over the entire Russiagate, over the DOJ investigation, this is where we're getting justice. New emails, new evidence has been released that show us explicitly that they tried to do a coup against President Trump. You're talking about Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. All this evidence is now out now, and the FBI and the DOJ are making it all known because they want everybody to see the explicit emails, the explicit text. They conspired against Trump to do a coup. The Supreme Court has just sided with Trump again. 25 huge wins from the Supreme Court for Trump because they said Trump, that all these activist judges that are trying to force you to use emergency funds for SNAP, guess what? You don't have to do it. Because it's again the Democrats' shutdown. Trump also has just told the Republican lawmakers, hey, instead of giving the $138 billion a year in healthcare subsidies to big insurance companies, why don't you just give it to the taxpayer? They could get a $5,583 check. Why don't we do that to everybody that's getting Obamacare for them to be able to pay for the health insurance instead of giving it to the big pharma? Guys, massive show today. If you appreciate this, hit the thumbs up like button. This is insane. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor that President Trump not be forced to spend the money the government doesn't have during the shutdown for SNAP benefits. The American taxpayer is scheduled. Also, listen to this. In 2026, because of the big beautiful bill, the American taxpayer is scheduled to see a record tax refund because of Trump's big beautiful bill, giving the money back to the American taxpayer. President Trump has said that Obamacare was to grow big pharma. From the beginning, lobbyists, big donors made Obamacare become alive. We have charts to show you today that Obamacare drove up the stock prices for health insurance companies as soon as it was released and has risen 800 to 1100% in stock price for health insurance companies. This has created billionaires within the health insurance sector for investors because of Obamacare on the taxpayer's dime, okay? This is where President Trump has called on the Senate Republicans to give the money not to the big pharma insurance companies, give it to the American people. All $138 billion to the 24 million people on Obamacare. If they do this, $5,583 check per person. We also have it again. This cannot be, this is the big news today. As the Democrats are embracing communism with Zoran Mamdani and all this stuff, every single conspiracy is being exposed. The January 6th pipe bomber has been identified as a Capitol Police officer. This is insane. It adds validity to the fact that it was planned by a group of people who conspired to overthrow the January 6th protests and make it violent. President Trump has also shown that the FBI informants were warned of Antifa being present in the January 6th protest. This is a big news, guys. This just shows you it was all rigged. If the FBI knew that there was going to be Antifa, there was going to be violence, and they still didn't send anybody to help out, Trump is exposing it all. We got the receipts today, guys. Big show today. Lots of breaking news. I am so excited because, again, it's one thing to talk about what's going on. It's another thing to have all the evidence and the receipts. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our members of the channel. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much for your support. If you're not a part of the family yet, hit that subscribe button. Join us here at TrueLife News so we can take care of you every day with the breaking news. I want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. To those that are members, remember, on the 22nd of every single month, we're donating live on stream to a local charity with your support. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting the thumbs up like button. This is a big show today, guys. Again, we have exposed so much. The Democrats are moving towards communism. We're exposing what actually happened across the board for Jan 6, the healthcare subsidies, all this. This is insane. Listen to this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Democrats aren't beating around the bush anymore. They're not hiding their beliefs. They're telling us, yeah, we're going to tax white neighborhoods, and yeah, price controls, hundo P. The trans congressman is downright giddy they let a commie in. And he's saying, come one, come all.
It goes both ways. A Big Tent is bisexual. It goes to the left and the right. And that starts with us being kind to one another, being respectful to one another, and being welcoming to one another.
Thanksgiving dinner is going to get messy. They might not even have any food on the table. It's day gazillion of the Schumer shutdown. Food stamps are drying up. People are going to go hangry before the holidays. Jon Stewart says Tuesday was big, but Democrats will probably screw it up.
I think the Democrats are still a mess. I truly believe they're a mess just because there is, what this shows to me is, again, there is this underlying potential energy within the United States of America that is much larger than I think any of us could have imagined. And channeling that energy directionally will be the challenge for whoever wants to harness it. I still don't believe they're doing that.
And the Democrats say they're fighting for you, but they're flying to Puerto Rico and won't pay the military. Flights are grounded. Their own voters who work for the government aren't getting paid. But Democrats are voting to pay themselves, just not anybody else. Yeah, they won a few races in some blue states, and now they're feeling cocky.
I think that there is no reason to surrender now, every reason to stand firm.
They're shutting down the government, not to hurt they're trying to hurt Trump. They're not trying to help you. They're not.
Let me tell you this, everybody. If this isn't the biggest wins we've ever seen, I'm telling you, Supreme Court rules in favor of President Trump not being forced to spend money the government doesn't have for the snap shutdown. This is 25 win. Guys, 25 times they've taken it to the Supreme Court and Trump has won at the Supreme Court. And not only that, guys, I'm telling you, this right here, January 6th, FBI informants, we already know that there was 200 plus of them, were warned of armed violence and that Antifa presence was going to be there before it all happened, and yet they did nothing. How in the world could you see this and not think that this was planned, this was orchestrated, this was organized by some people that are very up top, the elitists? And again, we're showing you all the breaking news, guys, because this came out this morning, early in the morning hours. January 6th pipe bomber. Thankfully, they caught it. But it was going to blow up outside of the RNC. The DNC was a Capitol Police officer. Right after the January 6th protest, she resigns. Or he, or whatever she wants to call herself. But this 100% was blamed on MAGA, was blamed on the January 6th protesters. And yet now we are learning everything that's coming out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. You can't make this stuff up. They want to continue towards socialism and communism. We're exposing the truth. This is big stuff. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much, Robert Cash, for the super chat. Let's go, brother. Said the filibuster needs to be done. I love it. He said, let's get rid of the filibuster. Show our boy Jim Barbato some love in the chat. Thank you so much, brother, for your support. Gene Mullen, welcome to the family. And Linda Mills, welcome to the family. Thank you so much, brother. Robert Cash said, America first, America the beautiful. Let's go. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. This is big. You cannot make this stuff up. As many times as we have exposed how much they wanted to blame MAGA, conspiracies, it's all been fake news, and we're showing you all the receipts.
I mean, they're trying to hurt Trump. They're not trying to help you. They're not doing it for the people. They're doing it for the power.
If we surrender without having gotten anything, and we cause a lot of folks in this country who had started to believe in the Democratic Party to retreat again, I worry that it will be hard to sort of get them back up off the mat in time for next fall's election cycle.
Sources tell Primetime that Democrats in the Senate already starting to cave. Moderate Democrats are getting anxious about flight cancellations. And
this is
soldiers
big,
not
everybody.
getting checks. And we already have 3 Senate Democrats voting to open. We just need 5 more. Schumer only shut down the government to prove he was tough to the commie wing. Well, the commie wing just won. And all these Senate Democrats, especially the older ones, have targets on their back. This isn't a game of chicken with Trump and Schumer. This is a game of chicken with Schumer and the commies.
And again, Trump is exposing them all, guys. If this isn't one of the biggest America first, give it back to the American people, what you're about to hear next, that Trump urges Senate Republicans to redirect funds from Obamacare-backed insurers and pay Americans directly. Stop giving it to the big pharma companies. You know why? Because Trump went so far. You can't deny this, everybody. You can go fact check Trump. You can fact check me. But Trump posted, look at this. Ever since March 2010, what was the stock price of all these big insurance companies? Cigna, United Health Group, Humana, Molina, Katera, Aetna. And where's their stock price now since Obamacare? 800 to 1,100%, almost 1,200% increase in the stock price. You cannot tell me Trump is saying the quiet part out loud, that they orchestrated to build up, people got paid. Why do you think when Obama started his campaign, guess what? Obama's net worth, whenever before he became president, was about like 1.2 million, okay? Barely a millionaire. Now he's worth over $70 million, okay? You tell me, Trump is showing you right here. And again, if this was to happen, instead of giving these huge companies $138 billion, we would then hand over $5,583 checks to every American that's on Obamacare, okay? That's what we're talking about, guys. This is huge. And again, what are they doing? It's all people are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. Listen to this.
Stuffed Pelosi on a one-way charter back to Napa. And now they're all buying one-way tickets on the commie train. No one's missing Nance, though. Finally, something we can all agree on. Trump said we finally got rid of Nancy's stench.
I was happy to see that a tremendous liability to this country, a woman that made herself rich in this country, Nancy Pelosi, has quit, and she'll be out of here pretty soon. And that I consider that to be a great asset for America, getting her out.
Now that Pelosi's retiring to the villages, Democrats are hitching their wagons to Zoran. Hakeem's hitchhiking in a sombrero, and Schumer's tied to the tracks getting run over.
Chuck Schumer was afraid to. So this is now going to be the 3rd time Chuck Schumer has been booed at a Democratic event I've been at in 48 hours.
It's the Brooklyn Bolshevik Revolution, and the Democrat royal family better get ready for the guillotine.
We got to get rid of the gerontocracy within the party. Down with the seniority structure that we have.
Everyone over 70 is dead weight, and they're getting thrown overboard. And if you were born in a foreign country, you get to ride in the front.
Do you have any plans to retire?
Sure. I have plans to retire.
Now?
And when that time comes, my daughters. I have 3 of them. I meet with them. It will not be done without that family consultation.
These lifelong politicians see the writing
Career
on the wall.
bureaucrats.
A 34-year-old communist born in Uganda who wants to legalize prostitution and defund the police gets elected as mayor of New York City. They know this isn't your daddy's Democrat Party anymore. Axios says the...
Let me tell you this, everybody. Everything that you're seeing now is, just imagine for how many years this corruption has been going on. And now that we're exposing it all. Look at this. Supreme Court sides with Trump. Rules administration does not have to pay out SNAP during the government shutdown. Okay? This is big because, again, too, where are you going to pay it? Where's the money going to come from? The big thing that we show you here, guys, is we show you receipts. So there was a Minneapolis restaurant that got $12 million in federal payments to help feed children, okay? Beautiful, amazing, right? They said they were feeding 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. That's a lot of kids. You got a lot of money. They only averaged 40 people during 6 weeks, okay? This, again, all this stuff that's coming out, this stuff, and this was the restaurant. This is the type of stuff that when we show you how deep the deep state is and why this matters so much, the Supreme Court wins, is because, again, we always want to make sure we stop wasting the taxpayers' money. No more wasting, because, again, as we unveil all this stuff that's coming out, guys, I'm telling you, the 30 subpoenas that have gone out over Russiagate now from a grand jury, somebody's going to jail. Listen to this.
Huge developments overnight, and they're coming in now. Here's their line of attack. This has all been looked at. This is, first off, they said, Mike Davis and John Solomon are screwballs because they're connecting Crossfire Hurricane with the Mueller investigation, with what happened in when Trump was out of office. It's so convoluted and so bizarre that you have to have a tinfoil hat to have it. And they keep hammering that, people let these guys off. There's nothing to see here. It's past time that you can even charge them. They're throwing up everything. So they're a little nervous. And then you drop, these 25 or 30 subpoenas overnight. It's going to get worse today, sir. So I wanted to give you a shot to use our platform to explain exactly what in the hell's going on.
Yeah, listen, I think the Justice Department, as I said a couple weeks ago, though I also called them out for a tweet that was outdated and raised concerns about what they know and don't know. The Justice Department is creaking to life on this. They're starting to put more resources and they're starting to get their arms around what this conspiracy is. Mike Davis and John Solomon didn't invent the grand conspiracy. First, the Democrats did. And secondly, the FBI director wrote a memo predicating an investigation. He has access to evidence that no one else has. We're starting to see what that evidence looks like.
Boom.
And that same media machine that said, oh, my God, they're going after John Bolton with no evidence. It's an enemies list. And you get the search warrant returns. You realize the guy had WMD classified information in his possession. They said Comey's a victim, and then you read his emails and you realize he's not a victim. He actually admitted in his own emails he was sanctioning someone talking to the media contrary to what he told Congress. I think when the Democrats see the full Monty of evidence that's put together here, and I think the Justice Department and the FBI have assembled it, now they're starting to act on it. They're going to look at everything from 2014 to 2024 as one ongoing conspiracy. You say, well, that's crazy, John. There are 7 different scandals. Well, it's Jack Smith talking to the IRS, and Lois Lerner back in 2014 in the middle of the IRS thing. It's Jack Smith handling the prosecutions of 2024. It's the FBI and Russia collusion. It's the FBI clearing Hillary Clinton. It's James Comey saying, I think the FBI, that President-elect Clinton, she's not yet President-elect Clinton, is going to be grateful for the way I handled her case. These players continue all the way through this 10-year continuum. And I think that that's what they're beginning to look at. These are the largest firing of subpoenas out since the investigation began. The cases are now consolidating in Florida, just like we told you it would. We mentioned that about 2 months ago.
Again, 30 plus subpoenas going out over all this stuff that we're showing you guys. This is big. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Right here, January 6th pipe bomber. We now know, guys, again, you cannot make up how deep and just the narrative and what's happened. The January 6th pipe bomber who tried to plant 2 bombs, one outside the RNC, one outside the DNC, tried to blow up. They caught the bombs. Nothing happened, thank the Lord. But we now find out she or he, whatever, was a Capitol Police officer at the time who even shot pepper balls at the protesters' faces during the January 6th protest. Again, they knew what was going on. People on the inside were trying to frame MAGA as being these extremists, bombers, just crazy stuff. And now we understand it was a person on the inside. Tell me, guys, is this not some of the most breaking news you've ever seen come from the left-wing media who tried to say it was all MAGA? Now we know, bam, it was a Democrat on the left. This right here is so insane. So insane. And the part of it is, and this is why I put it's so bad, because the more and more that we uncover this, just think about how long the deep state has been controlling the media, the narratives, and now we're all bringing this to light.
And I think for the first time, the Attorney General and those who've reviewed the evidence feel there is a connectivity between these cases. Now, a grand jury has to make the dots complete. They have to meet the law. But for the first time, I think they're looking at the last decade, not as one series of separate incidents of, more weaponization, but maybe a similar playbook, a similar set of players, and a continuing effort to do anything it takes to stop Donald Trump from being elected, being successful as president, or getting reelected like he did in 24.
I just want, because we're breaking some news here, so I want to step back.
Yeah.
I just want to hear it again from you. So MSNBC, you understand this, fully understand this. This investigation, what you and Mike Davis and others have been kind of working on behind the scenes and walking through, and now it's been in the hands of the FBI and the Justice Department since President Trump took over, is looking at it as a whole cloth from 2014 to 2024, a decade of which these deep state actors, including the time that President Trump was in office, were laboring like Trojans to destroy President Trump and the MAGA movement, sir?
Yeah, they are. And what you do, and the reason there's this connectivity, listen, at first it sounds like a stretch, right? Let's be honest. How are you going to prove all these disparate people were working together? But then all of a sudden, you see Jack Smith in 2014, you see Jack Smith in 2024. There are people that were deeply involved in the Ukraine impeachment scandal that now are being connected back to Russia collusion. There are some extraordinary continuous. So that's how mob cases are put together. That's how drug kingpin cases are being together. And I think for the first time, the Justice Department has enough evidence to start to look at that. Now, doesn't mean they're going to bring a grand conspiracy indictment, but they're looking at this in a much broader context than 5 or 6 separate guys all acting badly and ruining the nation's trust in our institutions. It looks to be something larger to them. Now, the evidence is going to be what does the grand jury decide? What does a jury decide? But let's take a look at something that just happened in January that you and I just learned about.
Guys, I want to show you this real quick because, again, this is some of the biggest breaking news ever as Trump is urging the Senate Republicans to redirect funds from Obamacare-backed insurers to pay Americans directly. And a lot of people are like, well, when you look at the health insurance companies and how rich they've gotten since Obamacare, I just want to show you, you can go Google it yourself. Let's look at the overview of donations from major health insurance companies. All this is tied in together, guys. And what is it? It's the deep state. It's the control of Congress. It's the control of the elitists controlling what the average American lives by. Look at this. Election cycle 2016. Big insurance companies donate over $4 million. Almost $5 million, $5 million, $5 million, $5 million. Do you realize how insane this is? And this is what I want to show you that's super important. Look at the percentage of allocation. It's more times to the GOP. What does this tell you, everybody? Even during what? The Biden administration. This is where they call the uniparty. This is what they call out of saying that that's why we got to go MAGA. Get away from the Republicans, get away from the Democrats, and just go pure MAGA, because this right here, when you're getting paid all this money from, look at this, just millions, company, this is by company, to, as donors to these political parties, all this is doing is control. It's buying favors. All this stuff is controlling how Americans live, and it's all a big scam on the taxpayer, because they're getting rich while your insurance premiums are tripling, doubling, tripling, where you can barely afford it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I told you guys, I'm bringing the receipts today.
On Monday, just before Donald Trump came into back to the presidency in January, there's a group of FBI agents working under Chris Wray, working under the end of the Biden administration, apparently, if the government's assertions are right, trying to get rid of evidence that would implicate James Comey on false statements and what went on in Russia collusion and what went on all the way through the January 6th investigation. If someone's trying to cover that up on the eve of the inauguration this year, and it goes back to crimes or alleged crimes that occurred before, that creates a real crux of a conspiracy case. That's what happens. The mob tries to get rid of its skimming records, and when you get the skimming records, you can now go back and say they ran a 30-year skimming operation at the Vegas casinos. The great cases in the FBI often have this continuity from cover-up all the way back to the original crimes, and I think the burn bags that Kash Patel first revealed a few months ago, and now what Lindsay Halligan put into the cases, that we're now seeing that the cover-up may have been to cover up a series of crimes. If the cover-up people thought those crimes were related enough to get rid of the evidence, you start to create that continuity trail. And so 25, 30 subpoenas, I expect from my reporting, there'll be 150 subpoenas dropped between now and the end of the year. That is a significant cranking up the investigation.
150 subpoenas. Let me just go ahead and show you some evidence again, guys, because I'm telling you, the evidence has come out today. The grand jury has already subpoenaed John Brennan, Peter Strzok, and Lisa Page. Here are them, Peter and Lisa. Here is their messages. He's not ever going to become president, right? No, he's not. We'll stop it. So you can come, we prompted the Trump comment last night, so you can come up with a code name. Crossfire Eliza would be cute. What about Crossfire Latitude? We all know Crossfire Hurricane is what they ended up. Trying to think of something loosely military without being obvious. Crossfire, huge. Though we may save that for the man if we ever open on him. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we are seriously looking at these allegations and the pervasive connections. What the heck is happening to our country? All this stuff coming from the top down. And they're talking about how they're actually conspiring to coup President Trump. Right here, guys. This is all these messages that are coming out. That's why there's already been 30 subpoenas sent out. That's why they're talking about another 150 that John Brennan is hearing. Not John Brennan, but Solomon is hearing, talking with Bannon about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Robert Cash, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Said, God shall supply all your needs. Amen. Show our brother Robert some love in the chat.
And I think...
Hold it. Hang on. There's 30 to 40 now. You expect 150 total between now and the Christmas holidays?
My reporting indicates that that's how many have been communicated between the FBI and the Justice Department over the last few weeks. Now, people will look at them and say, that one yes, that one no. Is it going to be exactly 150? No. It's going to be a triple or quadruple or quintuple what we now see, because this is a big, complicated case. That's why the Democrats did it this way. It's hard to unravel it, right? And you got to unravel it. There will be a wave of subpoenas. And I believe now, rather than have a whole bunch of different grand juries look at it, you consolidate it in the place where the alleged last crimes occurred, the Florida stuff, and you work your way backwards into the other conspiracy. And that also opens up charging crimes that are outside the statute of limitations. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen.
Let's go.
A grand jury probably doesn't know it's going to happen. But the fact that they're looking at it this way tells you that what Kash Patel drafted up in March and April has got traction inside the Justice Department. The key to this is Pam Bondi has to get the resources that she needs. Between Doge and all the firings and then all of the protests, the Justice Department is woefully understaffed for the mission that it's got on its hands. It's prosecuting local crimes. It's getting rid of illegal aliens who are great threats to our country. It's breaking big spy cases and smugglers, Chinese smugglers bringing pathogens into our country. It needs a large unit to just focus on this investigation and then give it to one prosecutor and go. And my reporting indicates that Pam is moving that into that position. That's going to make Pam and I think Cash a more substantial team going forward. I think there's been some dysfunction that's getting worked out. I think there's going to be some success ahead.
Let me show you this, everybody, because I'm telling you, talking about the money, funding all these investigations, Senator John Thune came out and announced they were close to a deal with the Democrats to open the government, but not anymore because, again, this is per Punch Bowl. He said, I think we were, but the Dems have gone in a different direction. I think, again, being browbeaten by their leadership. And then, not only that, everybody, just more good news from Trump. The American taxpayer might see a record tax refund in 2026 thanks to President Trump's new law pertaining to the big, beautiful bill. And this is coming from CNBC, guys. This is what I love, is that even a left-wing media outlet cannot deny announcing the great, great things that are happening for Americans under Trump's watch. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is, again, putting America first, winning, making sure we are putting priority on taking care of those that need it the most is huge. That's why I want to move real quick, guys, into our sponsor, Chapter. This is, if you're on Medicare, guys, it's open enrollment time right now. We have had so many people on this channel be helped out so much right now, and I love it. I'm getting testimonials like crazy over how much money's being saved. We have $900 here, $1,400 there, $2,700 per year for others. Like, this is beautiful. They save people on average $1,100 per year whenever you call them up. Because remember, Medicare stuff changes every single year. That's why it's important to call. Make sure you get things taken care of. The number is 667-895-3015. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. And I always show you this, guys, because again, when it comes to Medicare, you can go check out Medical News Today, what to know about the Medicare 2026 changes, premiums, all this stuff. When you look at how many plans there are, look at this. There will be about 5,600 plans nationwide 2026. This is undeniable. It's out there. Fact check me. What I love is that Chapter compares every single plan. Make sure you have the best plan possible to save you the most amount of money for your needs, and they take care of you. And again, it just makes my heart happy because it's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. You call them up, the call takes less than 20 minutes, and you save so much money because, again, you should be keeping your hard-earned money. You call them up, 667-895-3015. The link is in the description. If you want to go check out their website or get the number in the description, it's there. But it's all about serving you. Make sure that you are taken care of. Because I'm telling you, what you're about to see next, this is big. Right now, we are getting so far into this shutdown, and there's literally like no end in sight. Listen to this of what else is happening. Check this out.
Good to see you. You saw Chuck Schumer come to the floor and offer what he's calling a compromise, where he says, all you have to do is reopen the government with a CR and then have a negotiation after that about health care. But, oh, by the way, in the meantime, also give us a one-year extension, which is what we want with Republican votes. You heard from your colleague John Kennedy say he's hell no on that idea. What do you say?
My colleague John Kennedy is very well spoken, and he is absolutely correct. What Senator Schumer proposed was, we're going to give you a limited extension for government operations before we hold you up again. And in the meantime, we want a full year subsidy in addition to the regular Obamacare subsidies in the amount of $35 billion. And on top of it, we want it to go directly to the insurance companies. And we don't have any intentions right now of making what we have said since September have to be modifications to anything concerning healthcare. We've got to make it more affordable. Simply sending $35 billion directly to the insurance companies does not do it. So let's get the facts straight on this thing here. Republicans want reduced cost for healthcare. We want it to be affordable again. but sending the insurance companies $35 billion has not done it. Obamacare continues to rise. What we've got to make sure that we have is, first of all, we've got to eliminate the fraud and the abuse. We've got criminal indictments that have already been handed down to some of these marketers on the ACA programs, the Obamacare programs. And in addition to that, along with all the rest of this, Senator Schumer said, we'll give you an extension. Well, guess what? If he's successful on this particular extension to a date certain in the next couple of weeks, you think we're not going to face exactly the same kind of a threat again for something else? So the bottom line is no, this does not work on it. We want to fix health care in America. We want to make it less expensive. Obamacare right now is not working. But we also want to get government open again. You've just talked about all the dangerous things going on out there. We've got people that rely on SNAP. They're worried about it. We've got air traffic controllers who have been on the job because others have called in sick. We've got flights that are being limited right now, and it's because the Democrats do not recognize their responsibility for providing the services that the American people expect. If you don't agree with Republican politics on this, then let's have the debate, but let's not shut down government.
Let me tell you this, everybody. If we know if there's anything that we've shown you is every time we try to audit the blue states, sanctuary states, they sue the federal government when they're when we're just trying to figure out where the money's going. How many federal agencies, departments have literally said, no, do not come audit us. We don't want Doge in here. We don't want you to see where the money's going. How many times do we see where, again, right now, they're trying to negotiate $35 billion, and it's hilarious because, again, when you look at, we're not talking about millions. Billions is an insane number of money. You don't know where it's going. You don't know how much is going to what. And that's why Trump said, forget giving the money to the Obama-backed insurers. Give it to Americans directly. And that's what he's pushing the Republicans to do right now. And not only that, everybody, this is big. When we see how much they are trying to fight and how much they did to put Trump in jail, listen to this, because again, the facts speak for themselves that they have targeted one person because he's draining the swamp.
Bush had 6 injunctions against him. Half of those were issued by Democrat-appointed judges. Obama had 12 nationwide injunctions issued against his administration. 60% of those were issued by Republican-appointed judges. In the first Trump term, he had 64 injunctions. That compares with Biden's 14. And then before the CASA decision, we have a rough count of about 40 issued in the first 6 months of the Trump administration. So over 100 injunctions issued by against the Trump administration. Over 90% of those were issued by Democrat-appointed judges. That means that since 1963, over 3/4 of the nationwide injunctions have been issued against President Trump, with over 90% of those coming from Democrat-appointed judges. Well, some might argue that's just because Trump is more lawless. Well, again, let's look at the facts. 24 emergency petitions were filed at the Supreme Court by the Trump administration this year. They won 22 of them. That's a 92% win rate at the United States Supreme Court. There's not a single other entity, thank you, that...
Do you hear this? Again, Trump wins at the Supreme Court. And that's why, again, as they are trying to hold our country hostage with all this wasteful spending that we're finally pulling back, that's why the Democrats are losing it, because they're like, well, if we don't get the money, then what's the point of even being in Congress anymore? What's the point? This is where we're at right now with the elitists on the Democratic side. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, I'm telling you, when you shine the light, you expose the corruption.
Down for 37 days and counting. Very quickly, the Democrats seem to think that they're winning. Some polls suggest that they're right. They just had a big election night on Tuesday. Axios reporting that they're emboldened by all of this and might drag this on even longer. It's their shutdown, and yet they're not budging. Can anything be done to change this politically? Like, can you guys hold votes every day? Can the president give an Oval Office address spelling out all the times they voted to keep the government shut down? Because the politics of this apparently is comfortable enough for them to keep going.
I don't care if they think they're winning. What I care about is whether or not the American people are winning, and the American people are not winning. So when they talk about them winning or this being their opportunity, it isn't anybody that I know. The people that I know are being hurt by this. The American people sent us here to do the right thing, and that was to find a path forward, to fund government services that are necessary. The Americans are going to catch on. The American public will catch on. In those far left states, yeah, sure, maybe some of those far left states don't care about it, but the vast majority of normal Americans care deeply about whether or not we're doing our job up here. A shutdown is not good for anybody, and we're going to do our best to find a path forward. If we need to work with our Democrat colleagues, if they'll work with us, we will, but we're going to open government first, and then we're more than willing to work with them on reforming health care so the American public can actually afford it.
Right. It appears President Trump, Senator, his next agenda item is tackling high beef prices. The president posting this on Truth Social, quote, I have asked the Department of Justice to immediately begin an investigation into the meat packing companies who are driving up the price of beef through illicit collusion, price fixing, and price manipulation. The president also pointed out that the packers are majority foreign owned. This, to me, looks like a bit of a cleanup after the president went after the cattle ranchers for high beef prices and then began to embrace even more Argentina. We already import, what, over $800 million over the last 5 years of Argentinian beef. We export $7 million of American beef to Argentina. But this is a huge problem in terms of the costs that are passed on to the American people by the oligopoly of meat packers.
Let me tell you guys, is Trump not literally going after everybody, everything? It doesn't matter if it's tariffs, furniture, healthcare, even what you're seeing on the screen. President Trump announces Medicare copays for weight loss drugs will plummet from $1,350 to just $50, guys, right here. This is the type of things that whenever we show you, Trump is like, look, there's corruption everywhere. All these big lobbyists, whether you're a meat packer, pharmaceutical, whatever, you're paying these elitists in Congress to do things that are hurting the American people. And guess what? We're going to investigate your butt. And now they're doing it. And it is insane. There is just one thing right after another. Investigation, one thing right after another. If you appreciate this, show some love in the chat, guys, because I'm telling you, this is what we voted for. Get the deep state out. Rand Gauthier, well, thank you so much for gifting a TrueLife News membership. Let's go. Show our boy Rand, member of the channel, some love in the chat, everybody. Thank you so much for your support, brother. Show him some love in the chat, as well as those that have given. Robert Cash, Jim Barbado, thank y'all so much for your support, everybody. Kimberly Rivas, thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much for helping us, supporting our channel. The investigations are being into everything because, again, too, if you're going to be America first, that doesn't mean you screw over Americans to be better. You bring fair prices so that the entire country of America can be the best.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank the President of the United States for doing the right thing. Farmers and ranchers have been in his corner all the way through. We've had 2 meetings with the president. We shared with him where the real problem on the price of groceries is. Look, you can't blame a cow-calf guy, a guy that literally has cows and has calves and sells the calves, and then blame $6 hamburger on them when you've got all the middlemen in it, and you've got 4 meat packers that control this. This is an oligopoly. 82% of the entire market runs through those 4 packers, and for years, our cow-calf operators and our farmers and ranchers have said, somebody has got to do something. We've had multiple administrations talk about it. Finally, the President of the United States is there, and he's taking care of it. I just want to say thank you very much, Mr. President. This is exactly what farmers and ranchers need to actually be understood and to see where the real problem is. So thank you, Mr. President.
Indeed.
Oh, my
and Senator,
goodness.
how about some mandatory country of origin labeling
Amen.
rather than voluntary?
Absolutely.
Start next year. Made in the USA. Force it. Force it.
Guys, let me tell you this. If Trump doesn't hold people accountable, Cornell University has agreed to pay $60 million and accept the Trump administration interpretation of civil rights laws in order to restore federal funding and end investigations into the Ivy League school. They were DEI. They were being just, a certain way towards certain races, men and women's sports, all this stuff. And guess what? Paying up, everybody. This is, again, another win. Every single time that we hold these universities that have been indoctrinating our kids into pretty much hating America in what it's become, it is insane that we're finally seeing some money coming back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because again, all this stuff that we're seeing is just one step closer to holding these people accountable, because what you're about to see next is where they're trying to take America, and Trump is stopping it.
When did I not want to talk about it? I talk about it all the time. We are much better than Biden and all of them. Now, just so you understand, do you remember that the Biden administration had the highest inflation in 48 years, but most people say ever recorded? Do you remember that? Right? Do you remember it? Did they have the highest inflation in 48 years? Did they? Just answer me the question. You know the answer. The answer is yes. The fake news yesterday, they talked about that. They said, I don't want to talk about affordability. The reason I don't want to talk about affordability is because everybody knows that it's far less expensive under Trump than it was under Sleepy Joe Biden.
David Asman. I love it when he gets mad. And he's right. the media is carrying water for the Democrats.
Well, and the extraordinary, Senator Rounds just pointed out again, the reason why health care costs are up, why premiums are up, is because of Obamacare and because of all of the attempts to expand Medicaid and turn our health system into a socialist system. Meanwhile, we have a socialist who's going to be running New York City pretty soon, back in, I guess it's in January 1st when he's inaugurated. He just said this week at his acceptance party, he said, "We will prove there is no problem too large for government to solve, no concern too small for it to care about." We're about to hear, when will the lesson be learned that Ronald Reagan said about 50 years ago, that the problem is the government? That's the problem. The government is not the solution. The government is the problem. It's the same with housing. I mean, we do have an affordability problem. It is now twice the monthly cost to own a house in America than it was just back in 2019 before the pandemic. But you had that extraordinary increase in government by the Biden administration, which led directly to inflation, which led directly to higher interest rates. And interest rates, the 30-year mortgage has gone from 3.5% in 2019 to over 6% today. That's the problem. The problem is the government. The government.
You cannot deny, everybody, and this is what I love that Trump posts. The numbers are undeniable. That look at the March 2010 at the bottom chart. The very bottom is the 2025 number. If you go up a level, it's 2010. Since Obamacare in 15 years, look at the explosive gains of stock price for these insurance companies since Obama's been involved. Why? Because it's a guarantee. And if you're into investing and you know that if there's a guarantee that you're going to make a certain amount of money because the government's involved and the government will pay it when it's not the government, it's taxpayers, then you always know that guess what? The money's coming in, stock price goes up. And this right here is what I appreciate so much because, again, we never saw this coming from the Biden administration, from any of these others that were involved with this, that were in on the scam, in on the scheme. These companies give millions and millions of dollars in donations, and they control Congress. And now you're seeing it firsthand. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support, everybody. Because I'm telling you, the more that we dig in, the more that these numbers, you cannot deny them. I don't care if you're Democrat, Libertarian, Independent. This is insane. to see how much it's grown.
Is not the solution. And they keep claiming that the only solution to Obamacare, to the problems with health care is more government money, when it's more government money that has created the problem in the first place.
100%.
David, do you think that Trump might be better served politically by saying, listen, I inherited, and he, of course, that was the point of his questions, I inherited this gigantic problem from Joe Biden and the Democrats. It's going to take some time for us to get out of the hole that they dug, as opposed to saying now, like, oh, things are way better under me. Because the Democrats are now turning it right back against him, like, hey, you haven't fixed it in 9 months, all of our problems, give us power back.
I think we just heard him do that. I think there has been a pivot, and they are trying to get to the root of the problem and suggest that it's going to take a while to unwind this extraordinary spending, which actually hasn't been. Dagan, you've been talking about the expenses. Both Republicans and Democrats have been involved in doing everything except cutting the way we have to cut. Just cut the baseline back to where it was in 2019, when we were spending about $4.5 trillion on the government, and now we're still spending $6.5 trillion on the government. I mean, it's very clear what the problem is. It's the unwinding of it. Well, there are two things you got to do. One is cut the spending, and two is get the growth going so strong that the government to GDP ratio, it comes down again. Ronald Reagan did it. It's going back to Reagan, he did it in the 80s. We can do it again right now.
Right. They just like blithely repeat these lies that, oh, everybody knows that the tariffs have caused prices to go up across the board. That was George Stephanopoulos. I'm like, you haven't gone anywhere near any consumer good. The closest you get to a gallon of milk is maybe seeing one out of the window of your Humscalade, you little jerk. Moving on to this, the CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp, claiming that the rise of New York Mayor-elect Mondani is due to the jealousy of Ivy League grads realizing that their degrees are worthless. Listen.
And again, it's all, let me tell you this. If we don't, golly, today is just a crazy day for receipts, guys. So I wanted to show you this because this affects everything. It's the American dream. It's the next generation. It's having a family, having babies, all this stuff, okay? Because again, people are more likely to move in and get settled and have families when they have security. Having security is being able to have a home. In 1981, the average home buyer was 29. 91, 28. Okay, very consistent, even though it's been a decade. Another decade, 31, went up a couple of years, but still relatively close. Another decade passes. Oh, wow, it went down a little bit. But what happens whenever Biden prints a lot of money and then allows 20 plus million people to come into the United States? And guess what? I promise you, they're going to live in some homes. And that's not even mentioning what BlackRock has done. 2021, average age, 33. And then it goes the next year to 36, the next year down 35, the next year up 38, and then now the average home buyer in America is 40 years old. Why? Because when you flood the country with millions, tens of millions of people, and you print money and cause inflation, nobody can afford anything. You tell me, everybody, does this make sense? And this is the actual facts of why people are starting to see through all this gaslit stuff. And what I love is that the more and more that we turn this up, we are showing how bad their policies are and how they're hurting every single American. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett is here. Tennessee Congressman, Tennessee is like the key here, because I saw your governor put up a little digital billboard, if you will, a virtual billboard, just for some interested New Yorkers or maybe people in places like Virginia, New Jersey as well, urging them if they want some respite from what's coming. Look at this. Tennessee is open for business, strong economy, low taxes, government won't get in your way. That is exactly the opposite message that the mayor-elect here in New York City has delivered. I wonder what businesses might do.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me on. Governor Lee's a buddy of mine. I talked to him Saturday at the UT ball game, and he's right about recruiting business. Tennessee's a low-tax state. We don't have a state income tax. It's a right-to-work state. Unions and non-union are almost 100% out there on employed. If you want a job, that's what the trades are booming here in Tennessee, and that's happening. But I worry about what's going to happen to places like New York. You see Cortez, she's a friend of mine. I call her my friendly neighborhood Marxist. That's what this whole shutdown's about. It's about her, because Schumer knows if she announces tomorrow, automatically she'll raise $10 million over the weekend. The dot-coms, the baby boomers, all the kids will be out there supporting her, and Schumer doesn't have that support. So this is all about her and him. Unfortunately, his ego can't get out of the way. He's more concerned about himself than he is about the future of our country and this shutdown and hurting poor people and folks I visited with today. I visited with air traffic controllers. I'm going to visit with folks tomorrow who can't get it, who are going to have their power cut off, and we're going to go into a cold spell. And that's what all this power is about. And this socialism that's creeping into our nation, it's Marxism. It's to the far extreme, and it's our own fault. Cortez, she was correct me if I'm wrong, but she was educated in public education, and her degree from a university, economics. We better start looking at where this is coming from, and we better quit funding it, and we better start looking at it right now before it's too dadgum late.
Yes,
like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism's a great thing until you run out of people to take the money from, and they're going to start taking that money pretty fast.
Well, Congressman, she also didn't know, even with that economics degree, how the unemployment rate was calculated. She said it was low because people were working 2 jobs. That's not how it's calculated.
No,
I digress. But it could benefit these old guard, kind of middle of the road Democrats, if you will, if this experiment in New York City fails rapidly, because we have a Jew-hating, jihad-adjacent incoming mayor who wants to empty the prisons. And that's just to start with. I didn't even mention the jobs. But you ought to be careful if folks up here who maybe or maybe not voted for him, or maybe voted for Andy Cuomo, start coming down to the big TN.
Yeah, well, as long as they don't bring their values down here, most of the Northerners, or as I prefer to call them, Yankees, in a loving way, that moved down here, Lenore City, Loudon, in my area, they all talk funny, but dadgum, they got a conservative agenda. And you know what they tell me? They're moving down here because they don't like what's up there, and they want Tennessee to stay the way it is and not embrace what's going on up there. Yep. And if you saw in Texas, the last senatorial campaign, what we ended up with, they said it was all those folks moving in from California and New York and everything that almost swayed that country, that state to a blue state. And the reality was, it was their homegrown socialists, the ones that were educated in their colleges and universities. Again, we need to start looking at that. We better start looking long term, because it's we're going to end up losing our country if we don't. And
let me tell you this, everybody. This, again, all this stuff that's coming out. Oh my goodness, guys. I just can't even imagine if Kamala Harris would have won. None of this comes out. Right now, every federal government has been just ridden with fraud, all right? Now, we've got SNAP it's affecting a ton of people. Now we're finding out how much fraud is in SNAP and what they're doing to investigate that. And the Supreme Court sides with Trump, rules the administration doesn't have to pay out from emergency funds because, again, too, Trump is using the emergency funds to pay for the military, to pay for WIC, things like that. But again, it all boils down to the what's happening, all the next election, the midterms, because I promise you, next year, the Democrats are going to say Trump caused the shutdown. The reason you didn't have SNAP was because of Trump. But if what we need to do with the filibuster, the 2020 election, I believe now forever was stolen because of the evidence. But now listen, because again, too, more stuff is coming.
This, the American economy and the global economy, obviously, I don't need to state the obvious, but I will, enormously complex. And here you took a shot at really the last shot to really use kind of Reagan-esque, the one part of Reagan, the Reagan-esque supply-side tax cut, focus on capital, because capital is essential to becoming returning to be a manufacturing superpower. One of the central tenets of the MAGA movement, to return America to her greatness, you must stop the bleeding of shipping high-quality jobs out to basically lower labor cost areas, East Asia and South Asia particularly. And this is why some Central America and Latin America, but principally that. This is why now the Frankenstein monster that Wall Street, the corporatists and big tech created, the Chinese Communist Party become a manufacturing superpower, was done by our elites. This is what led to the managed decline. This was the managed decline of this nation.
And let me tell you this, it wasn't just Democrats, it was Republicans too, guys, the Uniparty. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up like button. I'm telling you guys, draining the swamp across the board.
The rise of the Chinese Communist Party in a form of state capitalism. And this is what the United States and the way it's governed is kind of evolved to. The Chinese Communist Party did not become an open democracy based on freedom, based on liberty, based on free speech, religious, all that, exact opposite. More and more controlled by state capitalism and an authoritarian government. This is what you saw. You saw it manifested in the Biden regime, the illegitimate Biden regime, I might add. Illegitimate? Why is the Biden regime illegitimate? Because they stole the 2020 election. We're never backing off that. And if you don't believe that, then you actually don't believe one of the core tenets of the MAGA movement. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm hurting feelings of people, some of the people watching in. It's just not. This is why the damage done during those 4 years is monumental. President Trump had enough to...
You're not going to believe what I'm going to show you in a moment, but I'm telling you, I cannot believe how much news has dropped today, guys, and this is insane. Oh my, you're going to love it.
Clean up, given the fiascos of Bush, Clinton, Bush, and Obama. That was to kind of stop the decline, or to try to put a tourniquet on it. Then, after the pandemic that was hit, that delivered by the Chinese Communist Party, coupled with the summer of love and the stolen election of 2020, in the 4 years of an illegitimate regime. How do we know it's illegitimate? Because you couldn't certify all the stolen ballots that they did, and 400,000 of them are sitting down in a warehouse in Georgia, and we're still sending strongly worded letters. And Fulton County came back, and I'm so glad they did it. They said, hey, take your letter and put it where the sun doesn't shine. So Justice, hey, I got a solution. I'm just tossing it out there. Just get yourself a couple of U.S. Marshals, couple of 3 U.S. Marshals, get a warrant, and go down and seize it. You're the Justice Department. You don't need to send any more strongly worded letters. You don't need to go back into court. You don't need to do any of it.
Let me tell you this, everybody. Go ahead and soak this in. Oh my goodness. New Yorkers sue Letitia James for election fraud and voter intimidation. New Yorkers have filed a federal lawsuit accusing New York Attorney General Letitia James of voter intimidation and election misconduct. The plaintiffs, led by Real American Vote, allege James used the Ku Klux Klan Act to criminalize citizens who found major errors in the state's voter rolls. Volunteers were branded malicious and threatened after uncovering breaches and illegal procedures. The case demands a full independent audit. Again, everybody's fed up. Everybody says, you know what? We're done with it. We're the people that have been living in this two-tier justice system, trying to control the average person, the average taxpayer who just wants to go and have a normal life. This is what we're finally going after them and exposing, guys. I love it. And again, too, this is just icing on the cake. And again, right now, this right here, everybody, I want to make sure that we continue to hold these people accountable, because when the midterms come, whenever they come up due, we are going to hold our feet to the fire, because I just don't believe or trust what's going on. But a lot of stuff with Senator Thune happening. Listen to this.
tell us about the shutdown that is still shut down and doesn't look like it's going to change at all. Chad, what you got?
Larry, good afternoon. The Senate is erupting with recriminations and blame. Democrats just blocked a bill by GOP Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson to pay all federal workers. Democrats objected, so the shutdown deepens as the Senate stares at weekend sessions.
We had federal employee worker unions reach out to us, asking what they could do to help pass this bill. They are sick and tired of being used as pawns in this political dysfunction here.
This is the second time that Democrats have blocked or defeated Johnson's bill to pay federal workers. The Democrats' move infuriated Senate Majority Leader John Thune.
We're going to keep federal employees hostage, so they might get paid for back pay, but starting tomorrow, they're not going to get paid again. And that means that in the future, they continue to be pawns.
Thune is drafting a bill to fund the government through sometime in January. The bill would also reopen the Departments of Agriculture and Veterans Affairs, plus it provides money for Congress for nearly a year. Democrats offered a plan to fund the government, but it also renews Obamacare money on a temporary basis.
Democrats are ready to clear the way to quickly pass a government funding bill that includes health care affordability. Leader Thune just needs to add a clean one-year extension of the ACA tax credits to the CR. That's not a negotiation. It's an extension of current law.
Now, Republicans oppose that plan, and that's why the sides remain at loggerheads. The Senate could take a test vote on the new GOP plan this weekend. That means we are at least 2 weeks away from any resolution to the shutdown.
Wow. All right, guys, you heard it here. We're bringing you the facts, 2 weeks away. And this is like already hurting so many people. We're about to get into the holidays. But again, the big, just crazy news, guys. Trump is, because this is all what we're fighting over is these Obamacare subsidies. Trump saying, don't give the Obamacare subsidies to the insurance people. Give it to Americans. And I agree with that 100%. If you do, if you don't mind doing us a huge favor, hit the thumbs up like button. And also, if you're not a part of the family yet, please consider joining our family here at True Life News. We want to serve you every day with the breaking news. Want to give so much love and thanks to everybody who has helped out today with our giving. And don't forget our sponsor, Chapter. If you're on Medicare, it's open enrollment time. Guys, let me tell you this. This is such a blessing to so many people. I've vetted them. I have so many testimonials of people letting me know how much they've been taken care of on this. The number is 667-895-3015. The link is in the description. The number's in the description. And the reason I show you this, everybody, is because it matters. There's no way that the average person can compare. This is from Medical News Today. 5,600 plans. Medicare Advantage plans nationwide in 2026. This is how they get you to pay more than you should. And this is why I want to be there to help you out with our sponsor, Chapter, to make sure that you don't spend more than you have to. Call them up. It's free, everybody. It takes less than 20 minutes. They're going to get you taken care of. But I want to give some special love to those that have given today. Gene Mullen, welcome to the family. Our boy Robert Cash with the super chats. Also, our boy Jim Barbato, OG of the channel. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you, Jim. Y'all show Jim and Robert some love in the cash, as well as Kimberly Rivas, Linda Mills. Thank you so much, Rand Gauthier, for the gifted membership. Thank you so much, Angel R, for the super chats. A great job on the news. Thank you so much, Angel. We appreciate you. Show Angel some love in the chat, everybody. So much is going on, but we're here to bring you the breaking news. I want to say thank you so much for sharing our videos on X, on Facebook, liking our videos. It means the world to us. And we're just bringing the receipts. We're bringing the breaking news, guys. So much is going on. We're just here to serve you. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.